Hi, welcome back. It's Laura at Hyperstamper, and I'm really excited to show you today's antique junk journal. This is a big one. It is 7 3/4 by 10 1/2. That's a large junk journal. And I made it out of this 1920s children's book called The Play Hour. Now, I don't know if you know this, but back in the 1800s and early 1900s, making bubbles was a big deal. It was just a fascinating thing for people and children, and people actually collect bubble themed ephemera from that time period. So this is just a lovely book cover. It's very sweet. I had to extend the spine, so I had to take the back and front apart from the original spine because it was just this thick. And so I covered it with some vintage crochet and added these beautiful vintage beads. I've even got this beautiful Art Deco bead, and then these wonderful pieces here, which I thought looked like bubbles. These clear ones. So that's that's my little story of my bangle that I made. And let me take you inside this journey before I put it in my Etsy shop, hyperstamper.etsy.com. And to remember that every single page in here is authentic antique and vintage ephemera, every treasure and insert. So let's go on this little tour together. This is the original first plate, which is also the cover page with a different background color. It's called A Big Bubble. I've got a sweet little page there. And this is a 1950s tables and bedspreads piece. And that is an original 1950s bingo card. A vintage book here, The Glorious Adventures. Lots of journaling room there, and a vintage dictionary page. This obviously came from an antique book here that I have long used all the pages from, but I thought it would make a great belly band. So in here I've got this children's page from the 40s, and then this really special piece here from 1950s, and this is Elvis Presley in, and then all these different movies that he's in. And then we've got some really great song lyrics here. So yeah, that would have been like a teen magazine from the 50s, but to find an Elvis Presley original piece is pretty special. So let me put that in there. And then over here, I took this wonderful children's book page, which is The Princess and the Pea. Put some antique paper on the back, Someone Who Loved Her. And these are from turn of the century postcard book that I recently turned into a junk journal. And I've got a 1930 postcard here, and that is Paris, France. And then this is a vintage postcard. It's actually from the 70s, reflecting the 50s. And those are the original pages from that. Isn't that neat? This is a plate from the 50s as well. I love it. You can journal on the back. 1955 pocket here. Book stamp collector's page. And then this back here is from the 1930s on business forms. Now this here is just a very, very historic piece. And it is from the 1940s, and it's all about the World War. Now, if that's not something that interests you, you can let me know when you purchase it, and I'll replace it with something else. But it's so historic, and I thought that might be of interest to somebody. I'm really a real turning point in our history from 1942. And then here we have a beautiful photograph from the 20s or early 30s, and this is Joan at her cottage. You've got the gnome here. Got that cool statue of a gnome. I just love it. And then this is a 1950s baby card, and I loved it because hope all is well, Mom and Dad. And then you can journal in here and on the back. Isn't that great? I love it so much. Now I've got these two pockets here, and I left them blank so that somebody can tuck in their own treasures into there. I've got that's the back end of that doily making magazine, and then a vintage bird page here. And this is really fun. Look at this from 1940. Look at the fashions. They're spectacular. Who wouldn't wear those right now today? I would. 80 years later. It's the original page from this book. And then a fun cluster here, 1930s book page here. And then this is from the turn of the century. This has long ago been made into a journal, but there's one of the plates from it. Little boy learning how to chop wood. I love that. My lion friend. And there's the lion on the other side. I love this piece. I kept it because of the tape. It just shows that the owner of the book really wanted to keep it intact. I just thought that was wonderful. This is an antique school book paper. Look at the foxing on the edge. I just love it. And I believe that's a French lesson, maybe. I'm not sure. No, it's not. Sorry, not that one. Another cool pocket here, and just a vintage book page here. That is now a journaling page. Little pocket, 1930s down here. And look at this wonderful plate here. Look at these dancers, these ballerinas. I just think that's so cool. Oh, just amazing. And then I made a journaling tag here. And that is from a mat around a antique photo. And then this here is from the 1800s. This plate here is from a vintage book on art in Paris. You can actually take that off if you like it and keep it. Le Havre. And then little acts of kindness. That's its own little book page. And then in here I've stuffed one of my flinch cards. Love them. And a pearl shop receipt from the 50s. And then this is a plate from an antique book. I just really liked the look of it, and that you could journal on the back of that as well. So lots of little fun treasures in that page. And then this is a page from an antique book, and lots of space to journal on there. This is from this original book, very old. And then this is a hand-typed page, research page about 1889. Your Pepita, lots of room for you to stuff more things in there. Look at this little yellow-breasted chat. I would love to see one of these in my garden. Love it. Now this is a book from 1904 called The Second Reader. It's a school book. And so I left some of the pages in here because I just thought they were really fun. There's another one here. Isn't that beautiful? So just a fun piece to have. I love that the little boy's name was Elton. I don't think I've ever heard that other than, you know, Elton John. This I purchased at a little antique shop, and it's more of these snaps. Isn't that fantastic? Just wonderful. The Mountains Supreme. Here's a handwritten research paper. And here's another children's book page. And this is from 1940. This is a Laura Wheeler design. And this was an iron-on. And you would have ironed that onto cotton and then embroidered. And this would have been for what they called a tea towel design. I just love it. Everybody's so happy in this. All the little plants in the tea kettle. And creamer. This is from the 1950s. It is from the Robin's Christmas book. And then I've got some ledger paper back here from the 50s. This is another original page from this book. A little brittle, so I hope it survives. If it cracks, just tape it down or glue it down to another page. And because when things are that old, sometimes they do get very brittle. This is a very old page here, a poetry title page. This is from 1904 as well, Loch Lomond. I have been to that lake. It is beautiful. And then this is a little word card here from this box. This just makes me so happy, all these little words. I always look in here to see if I can find words that match sort of the theme of the journal. And then I just tucked this in here, which is really cool, from 1938. Securities and Exchange Commission from Washington. Isn't that neat? So that just gets tucked in there. There's that journal ledger again. This is the Fun with Dick and Jane books, and this is a page from that. There's little Dick and Sally. This is from the 1920s here from, it's called The Art Class in Action. I just acquired that, so you'll be seeing lots of those pages. And I just love this because it's from the 1800s. And then there's a little pocket here again. And in there is going to go this beautiful little plate from Beatrix Potter 1903 edition. And that's a double-sided plate, so that's pretty cool. That goes right in there. And this is vintage here. And then this is a vintage map with a little vintage botanical double page there that you can journal in. Add some paper to, glue some other things in. This is really cool, from a 1925 magazine. Look at that. I love it. And another 1930s book page here with antique paper on the back to journal on. More of that page there. And I just did a fun cluster down here. And this, I just took two vintage playing cards and turned it into a little hidden journaling spot there as well. And then this is an unused recipe card. And that is also vintage. And that is another plate from that French art book from the 50s. And that's it. So I hope you love it as much as I loved making it. It's going in my Etsy shop now. So don't forget to subscribe and come back soon. Bye for now.